Good morning and welcome to 2024. It's a new year, and I received this as a text earlier this week. In fact, on New Year's Day, someone sent this to me. Hello and welcome to Flight 2024. We're prepared to take off into the new year. Please make sure your attitude and blessings are secured and locked in an upright position. All self-destructive devices should be turned off at this time. All bitterness, anger, and ill will should be put away. Should we lose altitude under pressure during the flight, reach up and pull down a prayer. Prayers will be automatically activated by faith. Once your faith is activated, you can assist other passengers. There will be no baggage allowed on this flight. Our captain has cleared us for takeoff. Destination greatness. Repost and book your flight. So I share that with you. And our verse for this year is, the theme is God is faithful, and our verse is 1 Thessalonians 5:24. Faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. This coming Sunday morning, Lord willing, John Nordstrom and part of the Cuba team is going to be with us. Now I say Lord willing, it's always Lord willing, but he just got out of the hospital. So please pray that he would recover and be strong enough to join us this Sunday morning. In the Sunday school hour, he will be talking about his trip to Cuba, and you don't want to miss that information. So please plan to join us for Sunday school at 9:45. He'll preach to us as part of our morning worship at the 11 o'clock hour, and then they need to return to Oroville for responsibilities in the evening. I want to thank you for your extra generous giving during December. We collected in the month of December $2,505 that was designated for Cuba. In addition, we earlier in the month had voted as a church to take $2,500 from our missions projects and also give that to Cuba. We've also been saving money throughout this entire year for Cuban churches, and that amount came to $2,479.11. You throw in some other budgeted giving and our VBS offerings, and Lord willing, on Sunday morning, we want to give John Nordstrom and AAA Ministries a check for $8,046.45. $8,046.45. So thank you. That was your generous giving that made that possible. And personally, I want to thank you for the gift that you gave to my family at Christmas time also. As I mentioned, our new theme for 2024 is God is faithful, and he's certainly been faithful to us. This coming Sunday evening, we will be observing the Lord's Supper. So prepare your heart for that, and then come out, sing with us, and I'll be preaching, feasting on God's forgiveness from the end of Luke chapter 7. You can read Luke chapter 7, the end there, verses 36 through 50, to prepare your heart for that message. How is your Proverbs project reading coming? We have set before us to read through the book of Proverbs, 31 chapters in Proverbs, 31 days in January. I started on Monday with Proverbs chapter 1. This morning I read Proverbs chapter 4. Tomorrow I plan to read Proverbs chapter 5. You know, if you've missed a day, sometimes people say, well, I'm going to have trouble making it up. I wouldn't try to make anything up. I just start with whatever day you're on and read that day's chapter. If you find you have extra time during the day, go back, catch up. But start with today's chapter, Proverbs chapter 4. And Cindy was kind enough to make more copies of the project for us. All of the copies that I had prepared, they disappeared on Sunday, and that's great. So let me encourage you, if you have not already, pick up your copy. Now, I think some people have been thinking, well, you know, I want to give a copy to my neighbor, I want to give a copy to my friend, and I understand that, but I'm asking if we could just keep these copies for those people who will be joining us on Sundays for our times of worship and Sunday school, and make this a church project, if you would. This Saturday is our men's breakfast, 9 o'clock in the morning. It's too late to sign up, really, but if you didn't sign up and you'd like to come, would you text me? Let me know you'll be coming. We've been planning for this. And then, as I mentioned, Sunday evening, we will observe the Lord's Supper, and following that observance, we will have a choir practice. Those of you who've been part of our choir, please plan to stay, and we'll go over our next song. Sunday evening, January 14th, Steve Jacklin with the Gideons will be with us. And then on Sunday evening, February 4th, James Kim, who is planting a church in Irvine, California, is going to be with us. Sunday, February 18th, is our Wolf Mountain Camp Registration Sunday. The cost is $50 to register your child. And I really want to see a dozen campers or more, but at least a dozen campers from Elmira Baptist Church go up to Wolf Mountain this summer. This last summer we hit 11. We were that close. I think we can make 12. Don't let money keep you from sending your child to camp. If you'll put in that $50 on registration Sunday, and your child or grandchild regularly attends here at Elmira Baptist Church, with God's help, the church will pay for the rest of that camp fee this coming summer. So that camp registration Sunday is February 18th. We do need you to register on that Sunday to get the discount. Thursday, February 22nd, in the evening, we're going to have a Ben Everson concert. Looking forward to that. And on Saturday, February 24th, that's going to be our snow day. We're going to head up to Nyack Snow Park. So far this year, haven't had a lot of snow, but we're hoping that'll change in the next few months, and we'll enjoy that day out. Sunday, March 3rd, Billy Allardyce, our missionary to France, will be with us. And I'm planning on Saturday, March 16th, to have a work day inside and out. And then the following two Saturdays, March 23rd and March 30th, to go out blitzing. So keep that in mind. Two more important dates. Spring Conference with Tim Schmidt will be April 21st to the 28th. Vacation Bible School Week is June 24th to the 28th. And you know what? I forgot to give you Camp Week. Camp Week, July 22nd to the 27th. But the registration, Sunday, February 18th. Well, let's go back to our verse for the year. 1 Thessalonians 5:24. Faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it. God's called us, and he's going to sanctify us according to his plan. He's going to keep his promises according to his time. And frankly, it often seems to me as if God is slow in keeping his promises. But God is never slow in keeping his promises. Think of Abraham. God promised Abraham a son after his wife had passed the time of childbearing. And you would think that God would be in a hurry to get that son to Isaac. The son is Isaac. To get that son to Abraham. Get that son to Sarah. But it took 25 more years between the initial promise, when it was already too late for them to have children, until at the age of 99, Abraham was 99 years old, God gave him a son. And then, you may have forgotten this detail of the story, but Isaac waited 20 years from the time he first married Rebekah until God gave them twin boys, Esau and Jacob. 20 years. I'm sure both Abraham and Isaac thought, boy, God is really slow about keeping this promise to give us descendants. But God wasn't slow. God is right on time. Faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it. I keep looking at this building over here, and I have pastor friends who continue to ask me, so is it done yet? Is it done yet? Is it done yet? No, it's not done yet. And I can be frustrated, and I can be angry, and I can be yelling at people, and I can be calling someone every day, and why isn't this finished? Faithful is he that called me, who's also going to do it. We know that God led us as a church to begin this building project. And it's in his time, and we are making progress little by little. It feels like a snail's pace. But God is never late. Not only is God faithful, despite it seeming a long time to us, but God is also faithful when we lack faith. God is faithful when we are faithless. I think of Gideon. You know, God came to Gideon. He showed him, first day he met Gideon, showed him a miracle. Gideon brought that offering out to a rock, and the angel of the Lord touched that offering, and the offering went up in smoke. You'd think that was all the proof Gideon needed that God was going to win the victory. But no, Gideon set out a fleece. He said, listen, Lord, I'd like the fleece to be wet and the ground around to be dry. He left that fleece out all night. In the morning, the ground was dry. The fleece, he wrung that fleece and out came the water. Just poured out. You'd think that would be enough. But no, he said, you know what, God, I tell you what, let's do it the other way. The ground is wet and I would like the fleece dry. Sure enough, the next day, ground is wet, fleece is dry. Gideon still didn't have enough faith. So God sent him down. You can read about it in Judges chapter 8. God sent Gideon down to the camp of the Midianites. And he said, go down and listen. And there was a dream. And I won't give away the story. You can read it for yourself. But that finally convinced Gideon that God was going to win the battle. God was faithful to Gideon even when Gideon lacked faith. Because God is faithful even when we are faithless. Now, I'm not saying, don't worry about it. You don't need faith. God wants us to build our faith on the past experiences of seeing God at work in our lives. God wants us to build our faith on the past events where he has come through, even when it seemed like he had forgotten his promise. However, even if I lack faith, God is still faithful. So remember all year, 2024, faithful is he who calleth you, who also will do it. God is faithful. I hope you'll join us this coming Sunday. Pray that John Nordstrom can join us as well, and then be here at 9:45 when he'll tell us about his trip to Cuba. We'll also meet at 11 o'clock for worship, and we'll hear his preaching. And then again at 5 o'clock in the evening, we'll meet. And following that preaching at 5 o'clock in the evening, we'll observe the Lord's Supper. I hope that you'll come and join us and worship with us this weekend.